You know, some roles in superhero movies are just untouchable. Joker, Batman, Superman, and yes, Lex Luthor. But if you've been a DC fan for the past decade, you probably know exactly where I'm going with this. Because back in 2016, Batman vs. Superman gave us Lex Luthor that, well, let's be honest, it was rough. Cringe-inducing roughness. People walked out of theaters confused, wondering why Superman's greatest enemy was acting like a sugar rush. And then, almost 10 years later, Nicholas Hoult shows up in Superman Legacy. And suddenly, everyone's saying, that's it! That's Lex Luthor. So what happened? Why did Jesse Eisenberg's version flop so hard? And why is Hoult's take already being hailed as one of the best live-action interpretations of the character? First, we need to talk about intelligence. Lex Luthor doesn't throw punches. He doesn't shoot lasers out of his eyes. His only weapon is his brain. That's what makes him Superman's greatest rival. He's a man who outsmarts gods. But here's the problem. Eisenberg's Lex sounded smart, but never acted smart. In Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Lex Luthor's entire scheme was basically built around chaos. His main idea was to pit two of the most powerful figures on Earth, Batman and Superman, against each other. He knew Batman was already suspicious of Superman's godlike powers, and he leaned into that fear, feeding it, manipulating it, until Batman was convinced he had to take Superman down. For Lex, this was the perfect way to eliminate what he saw as a dangerous threat without getting his own hands dirty. But Lex, being Lex, always had a backup plan. If Batman failed to kill Superman, he had something far more destructive waiting in the wings: Doomsday. And Doomsday wasn't just any weapon Lex actually created him. He experimented on General Zod's dead body, combining Kryptonian DNA with his own blood, and ended up bringing to life a nearly unstoppable monster. It was reckless, dangerous, and it showed just how unhinged and desperate his thinking was. This choice also highlighted something important about Eisenberg's version of Lex. He wasn't really a mastermind in the traditional sense. His plan was more like a messy collection of wild moves, with no regard for the long-term consequences. He was so obsessed with bringing Superman down that he didn't stop to consider that unleashing Doomsday might destroy everything, including him. Sounds cool, but think about it for more than 5 seconds. Did Lex have control over Doomsday? No. Did he know it wouldn't immediately kill him? No. In fact, the first thing Doomsday does when it wakes up is try to attack him. And Lex survives only because Superman saves him. Imagine that. Superman saves the guy who was trying to kill him. That's not genius. That's dumb luck. And if Doomsday had killed Superman, then what? Was it just supposed to chill out and take orders? No way. This thing was absorbing nukes like they were Nerf darts. It would have destroyed the planet. Lex basically gambled the entire future of humanity on a coin toss. Now compare that to Nicholas Hoult's Lex in Superman Legacy. A totally different story. Lex doesn't just brag about being smart. We see it. From the beginning, he's cataloging Superman's movements, studying his powers, analyzing his weaknesses. He builds a strategy, not just a speech. Instead of recklessly creating a monster, Hoult's Lex engineers a clone designed to obey him. No free will, no rebellion, just a weapon under his complete control. That's genius. That's preparation. He's not depending on chance or chaos. He's depending on himself. And that's exactly what Lex Luthor should do. See the difference already? Lex talks like a genius, but acts like a clown. The other actually proves he's the smartest guy in the room. Now, let's move to the second big difference: presence. Lex Luthor doesn't have super strength, but when he walks into a room, even a room with Superman, he needs to feel dangerous, intimidating, like someone who could actually be a threat. And this is where Eisenberg's version completely collapses. Instead of being calm and commanding, he's twitchy and awkward. He stutters, he yells, he bangs on tables, he makes weird noises like he's auditioning for Jim Carrey's Riddler. And when he finally stands next to Henry Cavill's Superman, the intimidation factor goes right out the window. Cavill towers over him. Eisenberg looks like a scrawny tech bro arguing with a bodybuilder. Compare that to Hoult. Hoult is 6 feet 3 inches, just an inch shorter than David Korenswit's Superman. When they stand face to face, they're equals in height and, more importantly, in energy. Superman barges into his office ready for a fight, and Hoult doesn't flinch. He doesn't stutter. He calmly tells his assistant to start recording. He sips his coffee. He owns the room without even raising his voice. That's presence. That's intimidation. Hoult's Lex doesn't need superpowers to feel powerful. He does it through composure, posture, and control. And when his mask finally slips later in the film, when he starts yelling and throwing things, it works because it feels earned, not like Eisenberg's random constant tics. Now, the most important part, motivation. Why does Lex Luthor hate Superman? This is what defines the rivalry. Superman isn't just some random obstacle, he's the obstacle. In the comics, Lex sees himself as the pinnacle of human achievement, the smartest man alive, the ultimate product of human progress. But then, here comes Superman, an alien who's faster, stronger, more admired, more loved, and Lex can't stand it. Superman represents hope, kindness, and growth. Lex represents envy, ego, and the darker side of human ambition. They're two sides of the same coin. That's what makes them destined to clash. But Eisenberg's Lex, his motivation boiled down to daddy issues and bad theology. His father abused him. God didn't help him. And now he sees Superman as a false god who must be exposed. Not only is that shallow, it doesn't even make sense in the bigger DC world. If Lex has a problem with false gods, shouldn't Wonder Woman be his #1 target? She's literally the daughter of Zeus. But nope, the script ignores that completely. Hoult's Lex, on the other hand, is classic Luthor. He's obsessed with recognition, with control, with being the center of the human story. He doesn't just want Superman dead. He wants to prove that humanity doesn't need him. He wants the spotlight for himself. And when he sees the world falling in love with Superman, that jealousy eats him alive. He can't handle the fact that this alien wins people over just by existing, while Lex has to claw for every ounce of respect. The reason Nicholas Hoult's Lex Luthor works so well isn't just because he hates Superman on a personal level. It goes deeper than that. His motivation isn't only about bruised ego or jealousy. It's philosophical. Lex sees Superman as a symbol, and that symbol represents everything he cannot stand. To Lex, Superman isn't just another powerful being. He's proof that humans will always come second to something greater, and that terrifies him. This is what makes the rivalry feel so rich. Superman, at his core, embodies hope. He represents the idea that even in the darkest times, someone can rise above and choose to do good. He's a figure that inspires people to believe in the best version of themselves. But for Lex, that hope feels like an insult. It's a reminder that no matter how hard he tries, he'll never be the one humanity looks up to. He'll never be the savior, because an alien already holds that title. So their conflict becomes much bigger than just man versus alien. It turns into envy versus hope. On one side, you have Lex, who channels all his intelligence and ambition into tearing down the very thing that overshadows him. On the other side, you have Superman, who stands for something larger than himself, the belief that humanity can be better. That contrast is what makes the clash between them timeless. Hoult's portrayal captures that perfectly. His Lex isn't a one-note villain who simply wants power for power's sake. He wants to prove a point. He wants to show that human will, driven by envy and pride, can outsmart even a god. That philosophical layer gives his character weight and makes every scene feel charged with meaning. So let's put it all together. Eisenberg's Lex talks like a genius, but makes dumb choices, lacks presence, constantly twitchy, and unthreatening. Motivated by vague childhood trauma that doesn't even connect directly to Superman. Nicholas Hoult's version of Lex Luthor stands out because, for once, the character's supposed brilliance actually comes through in a believable way. In past portrayals, Lex was often described as a genius, but the audience rarely got to see plans that truly lived up to that reputation. Hoult changes that. His Lex is methodical, precise, and always 10 steps ahead, creating schemes that feel logical and grounded instead of cartoonish or over the top. You can see his intelligence not just in what he says, but in how carefully he moves the chess pieces around him. What makes this portrayal so gripping is Hoult's ability to maintain a calm, almost unsettling composure. He doesn't need to shout or overact to feel dangerous. His presence alone is enough. There's a commanding quality to the way he walks into a room, the quiet confidence that everyone else is already beneath him. That subtle intimidation makes him feel more powerful than any outburst ever could. Superman may have godlike strength, but Lex shows he can dominate with pure will and presence. At the heart of it all, Hoult's Lex is driven by something deeply human: envy and ego. Unlike villains with vague world domination goals, his motivations are razor-focused. He resents Superman not just because of what he can do, but because of what he represents. Lex can't stand that someone else embodies the qualities he believes should make him the most important man alive. Superman's very existence becomes an insult to Lex's pride, feeding an obsession that pushes him further and further into darkness. That combination of genuine intellect, controlled menace, and a raw, personal motivation makes Hoult's Lex Luthor feel more complete and layered than many past versions. He isn't just a foil for Superman, he's a man whose very identity has been twisted by the arrival of an alien god, making the rivalry feel more personal, more inevitable, and much harder to ignore. It's not even close. Hoult didn't just give us a better Lex, he gave us Lex, the one fans have been waiting for in live action. A villain who finally feels like he could stand shoulder to shoulder with Superman and challenge him not with fists, but with ideas, strategy, and manipulation. And that's why Hoult redefined the role in a way Eisenberg never had a chance to. So, what do you think? Was Eisenberg's Lex Luthor really that bad? Or do you think he deserves more credit? And on the flip side, has Nicholas Hoult officially set the new gold standard for live-action Luthors? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.